Okay, so what I'm about to do is go outside and cut some tile. We're shooting it in here because it's too windy out there. So I already cut. So I'm doing all my cuts before I go in the basement and start laying my tile. So I'm getting all my tiles ready so I can just flow through it. So I'm about to go out here and do some cutting.
All right.
All right. Okay, so what I'm doing is kind of lining up my joints on the wall so that I can get a good gauge in my pattern and have another visual something to line up to, which this room's only 10 feet. I'm hoping I can use a straight edge and come off those lines to make sure my grout lines stay even, stay congruent. But the thing I want to talk about in this video was squaring out a room. Again, we're novices. We built this basement off our ass. My wife said, I want a basement. And my dumb ass said, okay. Whatever you say, honey. Whatever my wife desires. So anyway, I talked about this room collapsed, okay, at one point, which it did. This whole wall fell, and half of this wall fell. So we had to redo the room and rebuild that whole wall and half of this wall. But anyway, in doing that, I'm going to call that my reason why I'm out of square. Which that ain't it, I'm just out of square.
Right.
So this wall here is 108. These walls here, going this way, are 105, and this wall is 108. So basically the room is out of square. If the room is square, all of them would be 105 inches. So they're not. So what I did was I took my diagonal. Let me get right here, baby. I took my diagonal to figure out. So now I'm going back to y'all 10th grade. A squared, B squared, C squared shit. You better remember that if you're off grid. That equation will save your life in squaring. So what I'm doing is I'm taking, this is my C squared. Alright? So my C squared is basically 148 and a half. Alright? So my A squared, if I go with 105 inches, that gives me 22,050, and then the square root of that is 148. So 148 and a half is what I'm going to roll with. So now I do this one at 148. Now when I do this one, you're going to see it's longer than 148. It's longer by 3 inches. Okay? Well, actually, yeah, by 3 inches. It's longer by 3, almost 4 inches. Well, that's the 108 and 105 shit that I'm off. That's it right there. So what I'm doing is I'm going to mark me a point in the floor right there at 148 and a half. So now that 148 and a half right there is equal to that wall in a straight line. So then what I did was I took a straight edge like this. You can see my black mark. And I just made a straight line on the floor to where that floor comes back plumb to this wall. And that gives me a square. So if you ever got to lay some time, square your room out. If you don't, that joint would have showed its ass somewhere in my floor and would have been all fucked up. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to lay that joint, that tile, and then from that tile I can go on and lay my floor. Because again, you're putting a square, putting little bitty squares inside a big old square. The only way that shit gonna come out right is if the big square is square. If that makes sense. So I'm sharing this for that novice cat who don't know shit. You know, like me. So, you know, for those of y'all who know this shit already, hey, you know, I didn't know. Let me ask you some shit about some taxes. So that's what I'm about to do. This is my first floor job. Wish me luck.
So we have finished tiling the basement floor. So I just got finished cleaning the floor so we can get ready to grout in here. And my husband is doing some caulking around the ceiling and spray foaming just to make sure everything is totally enclosed and sealed up so I don't get any spiders or little bugs down in here in any kind of way. So we're getting ready to grout, and then tomorrow we'll seal the grout and this room will be all ready for us to bring our food in here and all of our storage shelves. So that's where we are.
So we gotta stay with our theme, you know what I'm saying?
What are you saying? What are you saying?
Stay with our theme, with the stairs.
I know, right? So we're doing the molding for the basement, guys, for the basement floor. So I burnt it, and now my husband is putting some spit shine on it.
Yeah, spit.
Spit shining.
So, I'm sure y'all caught that storm. There's another one coming this week. Message. If you don't have that generator, get it.
better have that generator.
How many videos did we talk about that generator on? And now you're seeing this stuff coming. Go get you a generator connected to your house if you don't have one. If you can't afford that, just get one.
Right.
Figure out how to connect it.
Right. At least you can
have
it plugged up to your refrigerator.
Yeah, you ain't got to lose all your food. You know, you can keep cell phones and things charged up. You know, a computer charged up. You keep your internet on. You know, just some basic things you need to keep on. You know?
Yep.
So, just giving you another message. So what I'm putting on here is teak oil. It's not quite a varnish. It's just an oil that will bring out the color. I thought I had some varnish, but apparently I was out. So I had this for something I'm going to do later in the bedroom. So I just decided to use it. But it gives it a pretty good gloss. But like I said, it's an oil. It's not a shellac or a varnish. But if you put a lot of coats on it, it'll turn shellacky. You know, for those of you who know anybody in the boat gang, you know, any old schoolers in the boat game, I should say, they know about this teak oil. That's an old school thing right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm showing my age right now. About some damn teak oil. So this is what it is.
Alright guys, so we have the racking systems up in the basement. The floor is complete. My husband put molding in to finish the look, which it looks very nice. So we have our shelves in here for our food storage. We got 3 of them. And now all we have left to do is put our food down here.
You always leaving me out the video.
Oh, please.
You always shoot videos leaving me out.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? You see how she do me out?
Whatever.
And
all the videos. Yeah, so it really looks nice. This room is finally complete.
Almost. Got one more thing to do.
Yeah, that's one more thing to do. Alright. Hey guys. Alright, so we are finally in the basement. And the basement is finally complete. This is the last video for the basement. So I'm going to let my husband pan around here. We got all of our food stored in here. My husband did a great job with the floors and making sure that the basement really looked nice. And I want to thank him and tell him how much I love him for really going all out to make this space what I needed it to be. You know, he really went well with doing the trimming, the stairs, the floors, making sure that I had outlets and proper lighting in here. And it really turned out better than I can expect it. You know, guys, this is the first room that we built. We did this room before we even purchased the shipping containers. We didn't even have the shipping containers when we did this room. So this is like the first room in this house that we got started on. And you know, Spirit had led me and spoke to me and said how important I needed to have a basement, how important it was for us to start storing food. And my husband, before we moved out here, he was bringing home bags, 50-pound bags of rice and beans. And I know my family looked at me like we was crazy. This should prove the point I did all of this canning before we left. And if you see on here, it says July 10th, 2017. We didn't move out here to October. So my husband literally had my dining room filled with bags of beans, rice, flour, and my family was really looking at us like we was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know, we had all of these cans. I canned all of this stuff before we left, and we had cases on our pickup truck of all of these jars that you see here, and we drove from Detroit to New Mexico. And I know my family was joking the shit out of me. And, you know, fast forward to today, they might not be joking me as much. Because the food shortage is real. I don't know what you guys are seeing at your supermarkets, but out here, we're seeing the shelves become more and more empty. And the inflation is definitely real. We normally spend like $200 when we go shopping because we buy the same stuff every time. And the other day when we went, our bill was $363. And I'm like, for what? And I had coupons, I had my little Kroger card. And yeah, so, you know, you're seeing it. You really are. And I cannot stress the importance of stocking up on your food, growing your food. If you can't grow your food, you better be stocking up on some food. So in this video, I really want to go into detail in showing you how to start storing your food. Because some people know, some people have an idea, some people just absolutely don't. So I want to go over the different levels of storing your food. You know, there's a pantry level. There's an in case shit happens, prepper, end of the world level. And then it's a little bit of both, which is what we are kind of doing. So I'm going to start with the in case shit happens scenario. So I'm sure you guys have seen these kind of food storage. This is Wise that we have. And what this particular one is this bucket is enough food to feed a family of 4 for 4 months. So, you know, you can go on their website. I'm not promoting them or anything. I'm just doing a little show and tell. But, you know, you can buy these buckets and you can pick and choose what you want, and you have enough food to last you for a period of time depending on how many people you're trying to feed. So, this one, if you can see the price tag on it, it was $130 back in 2017 when we bought it. We got 4 buckets. And back then, we got a deal on it. So when you put it in perspective, if you added up a grocery bill for a family of 4 and multiplied that times 4 months, $130 ain't that bad. But that's not something that you're going to be consuming every day for a month. That's for in case shit happens. So that's a lot of money to spend on in case something happens. So if you can afford to do that, cool beans. But if not, there's other ways to skin the cat. So what I did was I did a lot of dry canning. And in the description box, I'm going to leave a link on a video that shows you how to dry can. What I like about dry canning is that you can have your food in these jars. You don't have to worry about moisture getting into them. No rodents, no bugs. These will last you forever, at least 45, 50 years, if you do it properly. So basically, you sterilize your jars, you put your beans and rice in here, you put it on a low heat like 220 for an hour or an hour and a half, depending on the size of your jars. And that kills whatever little microscopic bugs or larvae or whatever's in here, and you're good to go. So these are perfectly fine, and they'll last you a long time. So you can do your beans and your rice. I have flour and sugar in here. Of course, you can't put flour in the oven, but what I did was I put oh yeah, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to your salt. what you can do is you can take your bags of flour and put them in the freezer for a few days, and that'll kill whatever bugs are in your bag of flour. And then I just put them in a sterilized jar. And I did the same with sugar. I just put it in the sterilized jars. So that's how you can dry can, if you will, your beans and your rice. I have a lot of another thing that's good to store are pastas, because pastas, you know, those will last you forever. As long as they don't get wet, they're good. And, you know, stuff like this, guys, I buy these when they're on sale at Kroger's. You know, Myers has sales when they're 10 for 10. And that's when I stock up on my pastas, when they're on sale. You know, my ramen noodles here. You know, you can make a meal out of some ramen noodles. I love me some ramen noodles. So, you know, stuff like that you can store very easily. They'll last you years and years. Now, on a pantry level, I hate to see people doing canned goods as a prepper storage, because canned goods have an expiration date. So you can't store this, you know, for years and years and years. This is something that has to be rotated. You need to buy what you're going to consume and rotate it. Because the last thing you want to do, is, you know, have this stuff and then it's no good and you got to toss it. And I'm sorry, it's too many homeless and hungry people out there for us to be thinking that we have the privilege to just waste food. That's not what we're doing. So canned goods, make sure you're checking the expiration date and you're rotating them out. You know, I have seasonings. Bless my husband's little heart. He has these bags of salt that I got to put in some buckets. I'm like, what the hell are we going to do with all this salt? He just went crazy.
I thought this shit was tomorrow.
I'm like, why do we need all this salt? You got enough salt to give everybody a heart attack.
High blood pressure off grid.
Okay, high blood pressure off grid. So, you know, I made sure that we had everything that I know that we consume. Now, some of you might be saying, well, Jamie, I don't have a basement. I can't afford to be buying $200 buckets of food. I ain't got time to be dry canning, and I'm on a fixed income. So what about me? Well, I'm glad you asked. So thank goodness there are dollar stores. And, you know, for the dollar stores, you can get, like, bags of these for $1. This is a whole meal. All you got to do is add water. You got chili, soups. You can buy pastas, bag of beans like these. It came from the dollar store. Pasta is pasta is pasta. I don't care if it's brand name or not. It all tastes the same unless you're making it fresh from scratch. So, you know, you can buy stuff like that from the dollar store. Cans of chicken, cans of beans, whatever. That stuff you can buy at the dollar store, and you can get you a bucket and start putting different items in the bucket. This bucket...
Show my popcorn.
I know, my baby got pancake mix, he got popcorn. My baby was ready.
I got all the popcorn.
All the popcorn. I got a bucket full of popcorn right here. Lord have mercy, he got to have his snacks. But you can put those items in a bucket, and this bucket can at least hold 30 items. So you can make you different meals or whatever, whether it's spaghetti and, you know, canned goods or whatever, and put different items. And now you got a bucket full of 30 meals for a month. So essentially you've created one of those buckets, like a Wise buckets, for less than a tenth of the cost. So it's ways to skin a cat. And for those of you out there that might have any better ideas or something that I haven't mentioned, feel free to leave it in the comment section so our brothers and sisters can eat off that food, you know, give them that knowledge. So I just want to give you guys different ways to skin a cat, but you definitely need to start storing up on your food. I cannot stress that enough. It's so much going on out here. And for my sisters, when you guys go grocery shopping, try to take a brother with you, whether it's a neighbor, a family member, your husband, whatever. Because there's been a lot of incidents where women are being watched going to the grocery store and they're getting followed home and they're getting robbed of their groceries. It's getting that thick out here. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to what's going on in Oakland, with their homeless population. Oakland is so bad, they told people not to even come and visit. Oakland's so bad that you got the major gang members moving because it's too dangerous.
The Crips done walked themselves out, and a Crip walked out.
Right. Like, it's really getting bad, and I'm going to leave some links, so you guys can really see what's going on in Australia, Austria, Germany. It's really getting thick. Even Philly, starting January 3rd, you can't go in a restaurant or a bar without that snake bite. So don't think that that's coming this year in the 2022. It's coming, where you will not be able to buy food unless you have proof of that snake bite. And they already have us conditioned with being given rations and standing in line. They did that when they did that last shutdown. Had you standing 6 feet apart, had you in line, had you ration where you can only buy certain amounts of certain foods.
Buying all the toilet paper.
And then y'all was buying toilet paper. Instead of buying food.
Buying all the toilet paper.
All the toilet paper. So, they've already gotten into your subconscious and got you acclimated so that when this shit hits the fan, you're already mentally prepared for it unknowingly. So, I just can't stress enough, guys, that what's going on is, only going to get worse. And, to keep it real, what I believe is that a lot of this is to hide the food shortage. They're sending them kids home to be homeschooled because there's not enough food to feed those kids 5 days a week. You got to work from home because what do you do when you go to work? You go to lunch. What do you do to work? You go out to eat. So they know that we're in a food shortage. All these storms that my husband talks about on these videos, you can't recoup from that. It just doesn't work that way. So the food shortage is real. Inflation is definitely real. And I cannot stress enough for you to start growing your own food if you can. And definitely start stocking up on food. At least have you a year's supply of food. And, that's my message. Again, this channel is called How to Be Free. So, that's what we're giving you. It's not how to build a shipping container home. It's how to be free.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
I'm going to always communicate what's going on out here in ways that you can become more self-sustainable and, free from all this madness that's going on in some way, shape, or form with how it fits your situation. Because everybody's situation is different. But awareness is the key. You got to be aware of what's going on. So please watch the links that I'm leaving you so you can kind of be aware of what's going on out here. So that's my message. This is the 4th room that we have completed in our house, guys. So it feels good. We got the laundry room, the bathroom, the kitchen, and now the basement is complete. So, we're very excited about that as we move into the new year. So, but we still got a long way to go. So keep watching. Thank you for following us on this journey. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe. Until next time, be free.
Be free. Peace.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team there. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team there. I done get it real from the jump. Living at my mama's house, we argue every month. I was trying to get it on my own. Working all night, traffic on the way home. And my uncle calling me like, where you at? so you bring it right back. I just think it's funny how it goes. Now I'm on the road, $500,000 for a show. And we started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team here. Boys tell stories about a man. Say I never struggled, wasn't hungry, yeah I doubted I could turn your boy into the man. There ain't really much out here that's popping off without us. We just want the credit where it's due. I'ma worry about me, give a fuck about you. Just as a reminder to myself, I wear every single chain even when I'm in the house. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my